Hi, I'm Belle. Welcome to my Super Woodburning Tutorials channel. This is a new video showing my newly acquired creative wood burner from Walnut Hollow at work. Here is the design I'm going to burn into this 18 by 18 inch piece of birch wood, a company of parrots, reminiscent of the Sisserou, the national bird of the island of Dominica in the Caribbean.
The project features birds of the imperial Amazon, Amazona imperialis, or the Dominican Amazon, also known as the Sisserou. The Sisserou is a species of parrots found only in one place on Earth, in the Caribbean island of Dominica. Sisserou parrots have lived on the island for several 100,000 years. This striking purple and green parrot is Dominica's national bird, found on its flag and coat of arms. It's also the largest parrot in its genus, Amazona, with a wingspan of about 30 inches and a bird that can reach very old age, up to 70 years in captivity in the company of its lifelong mate.
To start with our image transfer, I will begin by centering the design on the wood. Then set the black side of the graphite or carbon paper face down on top of the wood and place the Sisserou design over the graphite paper. Now secure all these with masking tape. Take a ballpoint pen and follow the lines in the design, ensuring that it transfers well into the wood. After working on this transfer for some time now, I want to stop to lift this section to carefully check underneath to confirm that the image transfer is indeed happening. Yes, it is. Satisfied, I continue to do the whole design transfer. This is taking a long while now, so I will need to gather more patience with a complicated design such as this. But it's good to put down all the lines so that it's easier to follow with the wood burner later, once I start the wood burning. Now the picture is complete, and I can start the wood burning at last. This will be the first time I will use my new creative wood burner, the latest from Walnut Hollow. This Christmas present to myself will be put to the test. But first, I will try the tip on this piece of wood to test how it performs. The handle is very light, so now I will try using it on my design. I will start with this, a universal wood burning tip, to burn all these lines in my design, hoping that this burning tip could do fine lines and shadow. The tool heats up almost instantly, taking around 20 seconds to reach the maximum temperature I have put it in. My 3-year stay in the island of Dominica was unforgettable. A job assignment as an international consultant was offered to my husband, and the whole family joyously welcomed this opportunity to live and work in this little island paradise, the last rainforest in the West Indies. And I have so many stories to tell. Back in 1988, Dominica was like a step back in time. The island had just emerged from Hurricane David, which had devastated it 10 years before. During the storm's onslaught, David dropped up to 10 inches of rain, causing numerous landslides on the mountainous island. Hours of hurricane-force winds severely eroded the coastlines and washed out coastal roads. Damage was greatest in the southwest portion of the island, especially in the capital city of Roseau. Strong winds from Hurricane David destroyed 80% of the homes on the island, leaving 75% of the population homeless. 56 people perished and 180 were injured. Power lines were completely ripped out, causing the water system to stop as well. So, of course, the hurricane on this beautiful rainforest caused damage to the habitat of these national birds, the Sisserou parrots, that I am woodburning. The rainfall turned rivers into torrents, sweeping away everything in their path to the sea. Most severely damaged was the agricultural industry. The worst loss in agriculture was from bananas and coconuts. Banana fields were completely destroyed, and in the southern portion of the island, most coconut trees were blown down. In addition, David's winds uprooted many trees on the tops of mountains, leaving them bare and damaging the ecosystem by disrupting the water levels. An island with a population of 80,000 people, where the main crop is bananas, the Commonwealth of Dominica is a mountainous Caribbean island nation with natural hot springs and tropical rain forests. Morne Trois Pitons National Park is home to the volcanically heated, steam-covered boiling lake. The park also encompasses sulfur vents, the 65-meter-tall Trafalgar Falls, and the narrow T2 Gorge. To the west is Dominica's capital, Roseau, with colorful timber houses and botanical gardens, lush greenery, waterfalls, and rainbows. When I arrived in Dominica in 1988, I was pleased to enter a very spacious furnished home that my husband had acquired for our family. It had a wrap-around veranda in the living room from where I could see the beautiful blue of the Caribbean Sea. At night, we could hear distant music from cruise ships sailing by. My first day was spent visiting the center of the capital, Roseau. Stores were small and limited in stock. The few facilities were simple, and even the most exclusive hotel was basic and unsophisticated. Streets were rough, and sidewalks were difficult to walk on. I had to really watch where I stepped to avoid tripping on uneven or broken pavement. The market was crude, leaving me wondering about hygiene, as produce were sold in straw baskets on bare ground or makeshift outdoor stalls. It looked very colorful though, with a few huge umbrellas affording some shade from the blistering sun. After living in the United States and Canada for 16 years, being in Dominica was a culture shock for me. During my first week in the island, I wondered if I would be able to endure whatever boredom would overcome me. It seemed like there was nothing exciting to do. Offices started at 7 a.m., lunch break at 11, and resumed at 1 o'clock until 4 o'clock p.m., while school opened at 7 a.m. and was finished at 1 p.m. for the day. The sun was bright and hot. Early dismissal allowed for nice, relaxing family swims by the nearby beaches. I could clearly see my toes through the crystal clear water on the black volcanic sand, with tiny fish swimming alongside me on these fresh and clean Caribbean shores. These times were wonderful, and I found myself slowly loving our island life. No hustle, no rush, just time to enjoy and relax. We had a local woman come in every day to do the house cleaning, laundry, ironing, and dishwashing. I've always enjoyed cooking for my family, so I would go marketing twice a week and found a one and only butcher shop which imported beef from Venezuela. That was good. And Saturdays was my family's market day, so it was fun too. And on the road to the market, we would pass by the president's home, where he would be in his loungewear, waving gently and smiling at his beloved people from his veranda. Nowhere have I seen that. Siesta time became an almost daily habit, but always I wondered how to keep myself busy. Our own household goods were still being shipped and haven't yet arrived from Canada. Making myself aware of my surroundings in the bright sun on the way to town, I observed the abundant growth of pretty flowers clinging to abandoned fences, yellow bells against the ruins of old buildings, gardenias and hibiscus peeking through wooden slats dividers, trees blooming with white plumerias or frangipanis, brilliant purple morning glories wound around tree stumps, and then at night, smell the intoxicating, wafting fragrance of pikake or jasmine. Being an artist, I began to draw these beautiful yields of nature found in the most unexpected of places. Using pen and ink, I eventually created a collection I named Roadside Pleasures, which I made into island greeting and souvenir cards, enough to present them to the buyer of the most luxurious Fort Young hotel in the city. Right away, my souvenir cards were accepted and were promoted for me. The hotel also ordered enlarged copies of my Roadside Pleasures artwork to hang in their hotel suites. Things began moving for me. With my art, I never found a moment when I was bored, and every morning was like a brand new day. I was always excited. When I was still in Canada, I taught classes in Hawaiian hula dancing and belonged to a ballroom dance group. On the flight to Dominica, I hand-carried a tape player and all my dance music recorded on cassette tapes. In order to continue with my dance teaching while in Dominica, I found a small hall to rent. I put an ad out in the local newspaper for ballroom and hula dance classes, and started the very first weekly dance class ever in the island with 13 students. They were such a happy group and very enthusiastic to learn the dances. Our long-awaited household goods finally arrived, so that in 4 months' time, my dance students and I put on a 2-hour hula show complete with full costumes at the old mill called Invitation to Paradise. Almost 120 people attended, headed by the nation's Prime Minister, the President, ambassadors, other dignitaries, expatriates, and many members of the Russo community. Soon after, invitations to entertain at the island's various hotels came, and I was soon doing exciting hula shows to local audiences. A few months later, my dance students and I planned to put together a dinner and dance party at the Fort Young Hotel for our now growing audience. It was going to be our first international exhibition. We all practiced for this event, working with our dance steps like the waltz, the jive, and the cha-cha-cha. I sewed pink tops and flowing white skirts for the girls. There was public dancing after the dinner and show. The affair was successful. Everybody loved it. And this was all within my first year in Dominica. And people were telling me that I was taking the island by storm. The loyalty of the dancers was admirable. They always attended classes and came for practices. We were often invited to be guests on television. Soon, I was producing my own TV show, a 12-week TV series on Marpin Television called Belle's Art and Dance Show. This was a 30-minute weekly program where the first 15 minutes were devoted to an art or dance tutorial, and the next 15 minutes depicted an activity related to the first part of the program. These series of 12 were shown more than once weekly and were always repeatedly televised on Dominica's special holidays of the year. Included among my household goods from Canada, I had also brought all my ceramics equipment and materials, including a kiln, to Dominica. I had a local electrician connected, and soon I was pouring clay and firing my ceramic creations in my kiln. Having marketed some really special items to some high-end stores while in Canada, I continued to create similar items geared to the Caribbean region and began to promote and market them in specialty stores in Dominica. A representative from the Ministry of Social Affairs heard about me and came to visit, asking if I can take 2 young male volunteers to learn ceramic arts. They were Simbert and Gibson, aged 16 and 17. They were serious young Dominicans, very helpful and very respectful. They came Monday to Friday to join me to learn how to create ceramics. Life in Dominica was truly different from a developed country like Canada. And after having spent more time, I started to have new friends among the local people, as well as the expatriates who lived and worked there. There was so much local color, visiting the tourist spots like the beaches in Portsmouth, fantastic views of Scott's Head, Trafalgar Falls, driving on the left side of the road through endless winding mountain roads built just enough for 1.5 cars to fit. Go slow was our motto as we maneuver up the hairpin curves so close to the edge. I would hold my breath. But it was oh so worth it when I drive to my absolute favorite spot, the Emerald Pool. No one was around and everything was in its natural form. Nothing can compare with this skinny dipping experience in the exhilarating, fresh, cool waterfall. Soon it was again time for our annual dinner and dance. And this time, my students and I got ready to present a Latin night called Sabor Latino. These involved continuous practices of the ballroom dance step, Spanish dance moves of the samba and the jota, and the Mexican hat dance, and some Spanish songs which I taught the students. We even had a great piñata, which turned out to be more exciting than we expected. It was during this time when I was preparing for this event and very deeply engaged at work when the Caribbean Regional Director of the International Labour Organization, ILO, came to visit my husband at our home, that a change of direction came into my life. I was very busy, almost covered by yards and yards of Spanish dance costume fabric that I was sewing for all my dancers, when the two of them approached me to ask how I would like to manage a government project for Dominica's youth. I did not know it, but the director had been looking at all my paintings on the wall, the ceramic figurines that I had created, and at me deep at work sewing, and he was struck with this idea. I was caught dumbfounded. I didn't know the first thing about running a project. They told me to just do whatever it is I have been doing. And so that was it. Anyway, I didn't believe it. 2 weeks passed, and the documents arrived that I was to start the project in no time. It was a tripartite project to be created within the Youth Development Division under the Ministry of Social Affairs of the Government of Dominica, which would provide the venue and the trainees and their stipends. It was also being funded by CIDA, the Canadian International Development Agency, which would fund all materials and equipment, and ILO, the International Labor Organization, which would pay my salaries. Wow, I couldn't believe it. My target group was out of school youth aged 15 to 25. I was to prepare modules for this project, so I chose to teach the non-traditional skills of woodworking, ceramics, and silk screen printing. The objective was to directly transfer skills to the target group. My first function was to work with the Youth Development Division in the selection of 20 suitable trainees for which the division had advertised via radio. I, together with some senior staff of the Youth Development Division, interviewed the trainees according to their interest, desire, and attitude. And soon we were ready to start. We had a venue available for the project on a daily basis. The woodworking project materials were bought and the training started. First and foremost, I gave the trainees my own requisites. First of all, they were to learn everything, with the goal that they were to become their own leaders and eventually owners. Not to work under any boss, but themselves as managers and mentors to each other. Second, they were to work in 2 teams, Team A and Team B, when it came to cleanup and upkeep of the facility and the duties involved in the activities of the project. Third, I would inject the project with a course in fine arts to help them aim for quality work always, from beginning to end. Fourth, to work together as one team in pursuing the success of the project. In order to refrain from project delay, CIDA bought my own equipment and supplies to get the ceramics module started. My kiln, molds, and all ceramic-related materials were moved to the Youth Development Division, and the module quickly got going. Everyone seemed satisfied with the activities within the project, and I could see what great teams the trainees had become. There developed deep friendship, respect, and care for each other and the work that they were producing. Not one item was thrown away from the very first one produced. Nothing was wasted. Right away, there was quality in their work. Every once in a while, we would have an open house exhibit of trainees' work in our project site and invite the community to come and visit. Sometimes we would set up tables with trainees' products by the market. There they learned how to conduct business and assigned who among them would handle the funds, how to receive payments, how to give change, how to wrap the products, and how to deal with customers. Local government employees would come to buy the products that the trainees created. The project trainees even received orders on commission. All the funds received were put back into the project to buy more supplies and equipment. The Prime Minister and the President were frequent visitors in our site. The Prime Minister would order several dozens of handmade souvenir items the trainees produced for her to present as gifts to her guests or to other hosts in countries she would visit. Once or twice, the President came and joined the trainees in printing a silk-screened shirt. The ministry employees were always vocal in their appreciation of the trainees' accomplishments. What a boost they all were in encouraging the trainees in making their project successful. The last part of the project was to teach them how to promote and market their creations on their own. One local man was hired to give them accounting lessons. I introduce them to retailers in the island who like their work. There is also the great opportunity of having the cruise ships dock at the port to buy island souvenirs created by the trainees. 8 months of project consultancy went by so fast, and the trainees learned as much as I could teach them. Most of all, they have learned responsibility and have become my own dear friends. I'll never in my life forget my beloved trainees, now entrepreneurs in their own right in Dominica. We have shared something special together, growing in our skills, maturing in our minds and hearts, and looking at life with hope and wonder. Woodburning, my Sisserou Parrot design is nearing its completion. As I work on this piece, I remember vividly many wonderful people and the great times in my life in Dominica. Over the years, I had moved on to more project consultancies in other developing countries in Asia. In 2017, another Hurricane Maria devastated Dominica. Again, my fair island is healing well from that storm. As always, the Dominican people are sturdy and resilient. When catastrophe strikes, they rise again with stronger hope and determination. In my heart, I will always hold love and respect for the people of Dominica, my beautiful island paradise. Thank you for giving me your time watching this video presentation. If you enjoyed it, share me some feedback or comment at the bottom and click the thumbs up icon. Goodbye.